You're watching Retirement Talk with Eric Kearney, Southwest Florida's retirement television. He's an author, a radio host, a fiduciary, and Southwest Florida's premier investment advisor. Here is Senior Investment Advisor Eric Kearney.
Welcome to Retirement Talk with Eric Kearney. My name is 𝗵𝗲 𝗱𝘁, joined today by Eric Kearney, of course, of Retirement Wealth Advisors. To our viewers at home, we're talking about reimagining your wealth. Well, what does that mean exactly? What about reimagining retirement, reimagining your wealth, and reimagining your very own vision of retirement? Today's show is all about being new and reimagining. Eric, how are you today?
Great, 𝗵𝗲. How are you?
I'm so excited. I'm fantastic. Thank you for asking. But I love the idea of your wealth reimagined.
Yeah.
Phenomenal. Reinventing your retirement, reimagining your retirement. Because, Eric, you have been in the industry for 24 years now. So I know that you have seen a lot. I'm assuming I know you have.
Yeah.
With today's economic landscape and so many Americans looking to retire, let me ask you, what do you think the overall sentiment is?
Yeah, so I think it's, retirement's a big deal, right? And I think that we've been working for so long that I'm going to be honest with you, preparing for retirement, I think people are getting really burned out from it. We're watching TikTok videos, 3-minute pieces of advice, all these videos. We're listening to our Uncle Bill. We're listening to the lady that we sat next to for 20 years at work. And we're getting disinformation. And so instead of really doing anything about it, I think, 𝗵𝗲, people are just like, I'm over it and I'm just going to put it off. And so they procrastinate. And we've seen people that they probably should have come in 2 or 3 years earlier, and they're just not doing that. So reimagining your wealth is a very powerful tool. Now, all of a sudden, what we want you to do is sit back and start to reset your thinking about retirement. And honestly, you could do this in a lot of different areas in your life too. And 𝗵𝗲, the thing is that when we think about reimagining something, we can do a lot of different ways. It could be our relationships, our physical fitness, our wealth, our money, the relationship that we have with our family or our kids. So I think today's show is really about rethinking your life and how can we actually go about it a little bit differently.
I love that. So the concept of reimagining your wealth, reimagining your retirement, that's where it all came into play for you. You realize that people are really yearning for something different.
Right.
They want to envision their retirement in a brand new light. I mean, so obviously we're thinking back to the years when people would retire. They would grab that glass of lemonade and they would sit on the front porch. That's not what you're talking about in today's show.
Well, I think that's how we see our parents, right? I mean,
Right.
when I take a look at my parents, I think, oh my gosh, they pretty much had a pretty simple retirement. But now all of a sudden things are significantly changing. Yeah. Now all of a sudden we are open up to the world. And now all of a sudden we want to travel. We want to see the entire world. We're not just going on one international trip. Now it's 5 different international trips. We're also changing the way that we're living. So we want to be more comfortable. We want to enjoy our life. And so again, in Southwest Florida, as you can see, we're living a significantly more dynamic lifestyle, and that costs money. The other thing is that we've been working for so long that our mindset has kind of gotten to be a certain way. And what we want to do is try to break that mold. So now what you can do is you can start getting excited about your life. What do you need to change about your life to put you in a better position? When it comes to your happiness, we are responsible for our own happiness, not anyone else. So a lot of times when you're working with an advisor, a mentor, a therapist, or even your spouse, you want to work with a person who's actually uplifting you and putting you in a better position. And that's what we're trying to do with our clients all the time. So we're like, look, do you want to reimagine your wealth? Let's reset what you're thinking about. Let's reset what you're doing and see if we can actually catapult you into a better position.
And Eric, are you finding that people are retiring younger these days? Because obviously they'll have more time to fill with their reimagined retirement life, their vision, if you will.
Right.
Is it because they're retiring a little bit younger?
I think people are retiring younger, but I don't think they're really prepared for it. And it literally is two different things. You know, I want to retire. Well, the other question is, can you actually retire? So that's really where the financial infrastructure comes in, because people do want to retire early. I'm tired of working. I am burned out. I'm sick and tired of doing this. I want to do something else. But the bottom line is that that's where our responsibility has to come in as financial advisors, as financial planners, to see if that's actually sustainable. And so there's a lot more people that have, again, a lot more questions than answers, I would say.
Sure. So let's talk a little bit about remodeling, reframing, restructuring, and reimagining. Let's break that down, because in my mind, I just took the house down to the studs and I'm rebuilding a new house.
Right.
That's what I'm envisioning. But you're looking at someone's retirement landscape, if you will, and you're doing all of that. You're just redesigning their entire vision.
Yeah, so that's a great analogy. Let's start off with a house, right? So let's just say that we're living in a house and all of a sudden we want something a little bit bigger, a little bit different. Now all of a sudden we go and we look at that house, we're there with a realtor and we're like, man, look at the yard. We love the yard. It's got a great pool. The location is amazing. It's everything that we want, except it's kind of a little outdated. So now what we're gonna do is we're gonna actually maybe even hire an architect or a contractor to start to come in and really take a look at that space and remodel it.
Okay.
So now what we can do is we can knock down walls, make the kitchen bigger, make it more livable, make it more modern. So as you said, how does that relate to our portfolio?
Yes.
You can do the same thing.
Okay.
And really, when it comes to our portfolio, some people's portfolios are kind of outdated. So when they're coming in, we're like, okay, look, the portfolio looks good. You've been saving, you've been sacrificing, but your money really is not working for you. So now what we're going to do is we're going to remodel the portfolio. We're going to improve your infrastructure, and we're going to make that portfolio more livable for you. And so really, when you're reimagining someone's wealth, you're kind of rethinking what they're actually looking at. And people like this because now all of a sudden there's a new perspective on it. And I think that that's what a lot of people are looking for.
Absolutely, Eric. And when you're talking about reimagining your retirement, what is the ultimate goal of all of these pieces falling into place together?
Yeah, so I mean, we should be excited about retirement. And a lot of people fear retirement. So this is what we're trying to do is it's like, look, now you're going into retirement. What do you really want to focus on? And maybe it is your physical health. Maybe it's your mental health. Maybe you just need a break from the workforce and you're like, look, this is really what I want to start to work on. So again, you want that balance of life. And that's sometimes what we're really looking at. So by understanding what your priorities are, what your goals are, what your objectives are, those are the things that we're really looking towards.
Well, Eric, I know that you have a very special message to our viewers at home. Let's talk about what that is before we take our first commercial break.
Sure, Cynthia. So everybody out there, hey, thanks so much for watching. Again, if you have questions about your financial plan, your income plan, I invite you to go to myIncomePlan.com, myIncomePlan.com, and you can actually go on there and download your very own retirement income guide. Once you download that, give us a call, let's set up an appointment, and let's see if we can reimagine your wealth.
And Eric, will they get a copy of this beautiful brochure?
That's the exact brochure that they're going to get when they download that.
I absolutely love this. This is striking. This is new for Eric, and I know you haven't seen it before, but it is lovely. If you can see on the camera, it's just beautiful. And also look at everything inside. It really talks about what it feels like to reimagine your wealth. That number to call is 1-800-779-1942. We realize you're in the viewing audience today and you're asking yourself, do I need to reimagine my retirement? Do I need to reinvent my retirement? If the answer is yes, don't miss the opportunity to call in. Schedule that complimentary consultation with Eric, 1-800-779-1942. We're going to take a very short commercial break here on Retirement Talk with Eric Kearney. Don't go anywhere. We're going to do a deep dive into what does that restructuring really look like inside of a portfolio. Stay tuned.
Greetings, everyone. Eric here again, and I am back with Donna Crone, our certified financial planner with Retirement Wealth Advisors. Good morning, Donna.
How you doing, Eric?
I'm doing really well. Thanks for coming back again. I always appreciate time with you. And today I want to go over why don't enough people have a financial plan and why aren't they working with a certified financial planner?
It's a great question, Eric. I think a lot of people think that they can do this themselves, right? And you can manage your money and plan for your money very, very well. But what a lot of folks neglect are the other pieces of their life that have a very strong influence on their financial plan.
Right.
So I like to use an analogy. Let's say you're taking a road trip from California to New York. You're going to want a reliable vehicle, and you're going to need to have some sort of sense of direction, where you're going, how you're going to get there.
Yeah.
In the financial world, the investment advisor, their job is to put you in the best vehicles possible to make that journey. The financial planner's role is more of that of a navigator. So we're plotting out the route and we're helping you stay on track. Now, just like a road trip, you can encounter obstacles, or maybe you have a change in plans. The same thing can happen in your financial life. So there's a real peace of mind in knowing that there's somebody there to help navigate those changes with you, or better yet, has already anticipated what those changes could be and has already planned out an alternate route.
Oh, wow. I mean, really, can you imagine without GPS today, driving from Florida out to Colorado without any GPS? Like, how do you really get there? It's the same with retirement. You want to have that financial plan to understand how you're going to go from pre-retirement into deep retirement. So Donna, thank you so much for coming in today. I always appreciate your expertise. And Donna Krohn is a certified financial planner who does head up our entire financial planning department, who does tax planning, income planning, taking a look at your goals and objectives. And then over on the other side, we have the portfolio management team, who again is that vehicle. What is that rate of return that's going to get you there? And then also our concierge service, something that really hasn't been seen in the financial industry for quite some time. So if you have any questions, give us a call today. Donna, thank you again for your time. I always appreciate it. And Cynthia, back to you.
Welcome back to Retirement Talk with Eric Kearney. My name is Cynthia 𝗵𝗲𝘀𝘁𝗶𝘁, joined by Eric Kearney of Retirement Wealth Advisors, and we're talking all about reimagining, reinventing, restructuring your retirement plan. I have to say, Eric, I love seeing Donna in that commercial with you, and I have one question. Donna, can we bring you on the studio and have you on the show? Because you are so amazing. I would love to meet you. She is such a sweetheart.
Yeah, she is so good. And she really is, like, she's the glue that keeps everything together, because really the financial plan is what connects all the dots.
Yes.
And when it comes to financial planning, that is what people are looking for. Is they're coming in, they're like, I have all these statements, I have this, I have this. A good financial planner is always looking to connect the financial dots for you, to kind of put the pieces of the puzzle together and then complete it and show you that. And you know, the one thing is, Cynthia, is when we do this, it's kind of calming to someone, because now what we're doing is, we always talk about reimagining your wealth and restructuring and everything, but now we're getting you reacquainted with your money. So there's so many different things that we're doing, and people are like, you know what? I feel so much better. Now I understand the position that I am. Now I understand the direction that I'm going into. And a lot of people don't call in the beginning because they're afraid to know. And this is one of the things that when I sit down with them, I'm like, look, you guys are in good shape. More than likely, this is going to be good. We have a lot of work to do, but you are going to have to make a change. So I'm not scaring them into something and saying, look, I don't know about your situation, right? Nobody wants to hear that.
Right.
You actually want to be confident with the people. And if you really take a look at the numbers, their lifestyle, and you understand what has to happen, you can say, look, I'm pretty sure you're going to be in a good position, but we want to put you through this process. And really what you're looking for is accountability. That client wants accountability to know that you're going to do a good job for them.
Absolutely.
They want evidence and proof that they're going to be okay. And so I think when you get people reacquainted with their finances, it really changes the whole direction of how they're thinking.
Absolutely, Eric. And I should also ask you, when we're talking in depth, if you will, about restructuring, reimagining someone's portfolio, I'm envisioning someone coming in for the very first time, and you're doing a thorough portfolio x-ray. When you do that, what are you looking for, and what are you hoping to uncover that can actually change the trajectory of someone's retirement?
Yeah, so that's a great question. And I don't want to get too technical, but we're really looking at the past performance. We're looking at the asset allocation to see if it's relevant. So again, with interest rate changes, this is something that Donna and I always take a look at. As interest rates have been all over the place lately, if we see an interest rate sensitive portfolio, we know that unfortunately, that client has had lost opportunity, sometimes for the past 3 and even 5 years. So hopefully that advisor found another alternative for you. But if they didn't, your portfolio more than likely suffered. So we're taking a look at past performance. We're looking to see if actually the portfolio is being managed with their risk and also with their volatility. If you take a look at a very successful investor, they're more concerned about managing the volatility and managing the risk rather than the return. They understand that by managing the risk and the volatility, the rate of return is a byproduct of them, typically a positive byproduct. And so what we're looking to do is you want to understand if your advisor really is on the game or is off. And so this is going to allow you to know how to get back on track with your finances and really move along. So again, we're teaching and educating somebody about their portfolio, which is a huge game changer.
It really is, because so often people kind of set it and forget it, if you will. You're busy, you're doing things, and then all of a sudden you're like, wait a minute, I better take a look at how I'm really positioned. Now, the other thing that I think a lot of retirees are concerned about, of course, is generating income streams.
Right.
So when you're reimagining someone's retirement and you're looking at their portfolio, how do you help design income streams? Because obviously the one thing that people won't have when they retire is that steady paycheck that they're used to receiving every 2 weeks, at once a month, however they're paid. Now they've got to find that income themselves. How do you reimagine that for them?
Yeah, that's a great question. So people always want to know, Eric, am I going to run out of money? But more importantly, you want to know, am I going to run out of income? You know, we all know that Social Security is a little bit in danger. Right now, the fund that it's in is supposed to be depleted by 2034. Now, it's still propped up by income taxes by current workers. And right now, even if that was depleted, about 79% of promised benefits would still be paid out. But here's the other thing that we really have to pay attention to with Social Security is that John Deere last year gave over 100 employees an early payout. So they're like, hey, we want you guys to retire, kind of forced them into retirement. The other thing is that they laid off, or were looking to lay off, over 600 workers to move more of these jobs to Mexico. Now, how does that affect our overall income in retirement? If we keep losing American workers to other countries, this is a huge issue because the ratio of workers contributing to Social Security actually drops. And right now, Social Security has been underfunded since 2021. So now what people are realizing is, okay, maybe I don't want to rely just on my Social Security. I really need to have other income streams. And so this is, again, where we don't get political. We get, you know, we're in the money business, right? So we've got to pay attention to how people are going to generate income.
Right.
So this is where they say, well, I've got Social Security. I'm like, okay, what else do you have on top of that?
Right.
And so again, the income streams that we're building, you want to build other income streams that are going to complement the Social Security and make sure that you have sustainability with that.
And what are some of the other income streams? I love putting Eric on the side. He doesn't know I'm going to actually ask this, but would that be like utilizing things like annuities, if you will?
So there's a lot of different things that you can do. It all depends on the client. And that's why we put people through a process, because we're never predetermining what we're going to use for you until we put you through the process. Unfortunately, other people are going to firms and they're buying tools, investments, and products without understanding how much they're spending. There's no financial planning. There's no income planning. What we're doing is we understand that purpose determines placement. So really, when you take a look at the purpose of your money, what are you trying to do? That's when we can kind of understand the placement of your investments. So I think a lot of people are investing a lot of money, and that's where the frustration is with the financial industry. Because if you're just investing and you're socking away all this money, but you really don't know why or how this is actually going to benefit you, it more than likely isn't going to work for you. So again, appreciate and understand the process that you're going through.
So everyone's unique and everyone's different.
Right.
On that note, Eric, I know you have a very special message to our viewers at home. Let's talk about what that is before we take our next commercial break.
Yeah, I'm actually going to offer them two things today. So number one, I'd like you to go on our website and go to myincomeplan.com. And I'd like you to download our Reimagine Your Wealth brochure. And that's the one that Cynthia showed you earlier. So it's Reimagine Your Wealth brochure. And number two, I'd like you to pick up the phone, 1-800-779-1942. Talk to one of the girls and say, Eric mentioned a financial mind map. And so actually ask for that. This is something that's special that we don't talk about very much, but we are offering it to people right now. So if you have amassed some assets out there and you really want a financial mind map to understand how this is going to play out in your retirement, ask for that today. You won't be hearing about that a lot on our TV shows, so it's a really special offer today.
Eric, thank you so much. Financial mind map. I made the mistake of saying mind map, I think, a couple of weeks ago. To our viewers at home, there's a number to call on your screen, 1-800-779-1942. You are having the opportunity today to have a consultation with Eric and his team, of course, just by calling in. But obviously, most importantly, if you go to myIncomePlan.com, you can download a copy of this beautiful brochure. This is called Reimagine Your Retirement. You can start from scratch. What is your vision going to be for your retirement? Has it changed through the years? If so, Eric wants to redesign and reimagine that with you. Once again, that number is 1-800-779-1942. And go ahead, call in and ask for the Financial Mind Map. We'll be right back momentarily with Eric Kearney. Stay tuned.
Retirement Wealth Advisors, your investment providers.
What I enjoy most about retirement planning is sitting down with you and having real conversations about your retirement dreams and goals. We specialize in helping people just like you prepare for the retirement they've always dreamed of.
Retirement Wealth Advisors with Eric Kearney.
Welcome back to Retirement Talk with Eric Kearney. My name is 𝗵𝗲 𝘱𝘁, joined today by Eric Kearney of Retirement Wealth Advisors, and we are talking all about reimagining, reinventing your retirement. You know, Eric, I was thinking that it's so important in life when we get into tough times in certain situations, how important it is to have a guide, one that can lead us, one that can guide us, one that can get us through everything and anything. That's the same with financial advising, correct?
Yeah, it really is. You know, we're like growing up in upstate New York, it was pretty cool. We used to go whitewater rafting up in the Adirondacks quite a bit.
Okay.
Have you ever been?
My husband took, not up there whitewater rafting. I did in Idaho once, but yes, I've been up to the Adirondack. Beautiful.
It's beautiful up there. And so after the long winter and all the snow is melting on it, it gets pretty brutal up there. So we used to go whitewater rafting, and I learned a lot from that for the rest of my life. So when we would go up there, you have these class 2 rapids, and that's pretty much for a beginner. You get into like class 3, it's a little more advanced. Then you get into like class 4 and class 5, which are pretty crazy. And then you get into class 6, which are pretty much unnavigable. And so what happens is when you jump in this boat, you're going with a guide. Okay. And there's usually about 12 people in the boat. And so the guide is sitting way up on the back of the boat, and he's kind of steering the boat. The interesting thing about all this is that when you're going through very rough waters, and this one time we started out as a class 4, which is pretty rough, and it actually turned into a class 5, got pretty choppy out there. So now all of a sudden, when times get tough, just like the stock market, you start to rely on that guide. You're turning back to them and saying, okay, what are we doing? And believe it or not, the one thing that keeps you safe in that boat is you row harder. So he's going to be like, give me a hard right, give me a hard left. All paddle. And what's interesting is everybody except my younger sister paddles. She's just sitting back there taking pictures, right?
Well, someone has to document the trip.
Somebody has to document the whole trip. And I will say this, she took some pretty good pictures.
Yay.
So what happens is you're going hard right, hard left. Sometimes the guide is grabbing you by your life preserver and yanking you to the other side. I mean, it's pretty physical and aggressive when you're in the boat.
Yikes.
And he's like, row hard. The bottom line is what you're trying to do is you are trying to get further down the river. That is the whole goal, just like your retirement. You've got to go through difficult times to get further on down the road. Now, here's the interesting thing. You're paddling, you're going through tough times, you're sometimes pulling people out of the water. Again, very physical. And it's almost exhausting. This is how we feel about investing sometimes. You know, we get to the certain point and we're like, we can't take it anymore. What's going on here? And people are looking for some kind of direction. But then all of a sudden, hard right, and we end up going off to the side. And what's interesting is you pull into an eddy, which is oddly a very calm body of water that is parked right next to these raging waters. It's almost surreal that this calm body of water can exist right next to that. The reason what happens is now all of a sudden we realize we're in calm waters. We made it through difficult times by listening to that guide, right? By him guiding us, hard left, hard right, everybody row, we made it through. The same is with your investment advisor. You are going to go through difficult times. There's going to be corrections. There's going to be pullbacks in the market. Now, all of a sudden, you want to reimagine your wealth. You want to remodel that portfolio. You want to make sure that it can get through difficult times. So having that guide there and understanding the plan is going to get you into a better place and get you further into retirement. That's the whole purpose. At the end of the trip, we all got out of the boat and we're like, that was fantastic. That was great. That's how we want our clients to feel. Eric, we just got back from a trip. The trip was fantastic. We had a great time. We spent time with family, friends. This is what we wanted to do. We are living the retirement that we actually wanted to. We know at times it's bumpy, but we're getting through.
Eric, I love that because honestly, I'm actually thinking of all the other things that can happen to your life where you need a guide to get you through loss of a spouse, loss of a job, adult child moving back in. All of these things, people would need their financial advisor to hold their hand and get them through some turbulent times, if you will.
Right.
Also, the other thing I want to talk about is when you're talking about money, lifestyle, goals, and dreams, a lot of people can be sensitive about talking about their money specifically. So how do you help people reimagine what their life could be like and overcoming some of those barriers? Because it's a hard topic to really uncover, if you will. Like no one wants to say, well, this is what I make, because sometimes people feel like it's not enough.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
So how do you help people kind of reimagine their mindset, if you will?
So this is kind of off topic, but you know, some people will call in and they're like, I want to make an appointment, right? And then they come into the office and they're like, well, here's my statements.
I can see that.
You know, and it's like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
And then you're like, you know, and then so you just start having a conversation and you're like, look, you know, what's on your mind? You know, what's bothering you? What brought you in here today? What's your family like? You know, you ask about their pets and everything. All you're trying to do is make simple conversation with them and trying to make them feel comfortable. Like we are real people. And we are concerned. Like the one thing about financial planning is everyone in my office is all focused on the client, the benefit of the client, trying to put them in a better position. That is our entire purpose.
Yes.
And so we have to understand that money gets emotional.
Absolutely.
And so, you know, as soon as we admit that to the person, we're like, look, we understand money's emotional. When you're ready, you're ready.
Yeah.
And there's been times where actually someone was like, okay, we want to sign on, right? But they're so nervous, they're like sitting over there. I have literally pulled the paperwork back and I said, it's okay, just call us when you're ready.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
When you leave our office, you have to feel confident. You have to feel safe. You have to want to be able to trust us. You want to say, okay, I made the right decision. So when you're sitting in the car and those two spouses are talking to each other, we want them to think this was a great decision. And a lot of times we're getting emails like that saying, that was a great decision. Thank you, Eric.
Eric, thank you so much. To our viewers at home, it's time for you to reimagine your retirement with Eric Kearney, 800-779-1942. See you next week.
Hey, Southwest Florida, thank you so much for watching. If you have any questions after today's show, please give us a call.
Remember, you only retire once. Let's get it right the first time. Have a great week and an even better retirement.